Hi, my name is Mary Lou Pauly, and I serve as Issaquah's mayor.
Hi, my name is Victoria Hunt, and I serve as the Issaquah City Council President.
And today, Council President and I are having the great opportunity of being able to chat with Issaquah resident David Waggoner, who was just recently inducted into the Issaquah Hall of Fame. From the Ruth Keys to Harvey Manning, the impressive list of Issaquah Hall of Fame inductees truly embodies the best of our community and now includes Dave Waggoner. Over the years and through many contributions to Issaquah, members of the Hall of Fame have raised the bar with their inspiring examples of service, leadership, and civic mindedness. Congratulations, Dave, and thank you for joining us here today.
Thank you, Mayor Pauly.
To start off, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, how long you've lived here, and why do you love Issaquah?
Well, that's an easy question. Yeah, I was a war baby, World War II, moved home here from California. I was born in California. I moved home here to Issaquah when I was 16 months old in 1945. So I've been around Issaquah for a little while now. And many of those people you mentioned on those awards, I've known them personally, and what an honor it is to be on that list of people. Grew up in Seattle. My dad worked in Seattle. Mom worked there too. Grew up on Beacon Hill, and then we moved back to Issaquah in 1961, and it's been home ever since. But my grandparents had a farm right outside on the Cedar Grove Road for all those years. So summers I was in Issaquah, winters I was going to school in Seattle. But Issaquah, for me, has always been home since I got here in 1945. And why do I love it? Well, it's home. It's best way to describe it, when I was a senior in high school, looking out the window, which was on top, the classroom was on top of the old gym in the old Issaquah High School. And I could see the clouds swirling on Squawk Mountain. In that classroom, Mr. Solon taught U.S. government. I never thought in my wildest dreams that I would be involved in the U.S. government and or the Army and serve the way I served. And just like the salmon coming home, I retired from the Army and came back home to the place I love. And when you stand up at Hillside Cemetery and look at the valley, there is nothing quite like it. It's just awe-inspiring. So hopefully that answers your question.
It absolutely does. Thank you, Dave.
From serving at the Issaquah Senior Center to our cemetery board and also the Puget Sound honor flight work that you do, you are one of Issaquah's hardest working volunteers. What about this work is most fulfilling? And what advice would you give to other community members that are interested in getting more involved and getting into volunteering?
Thank you for that question, Councilmember Hunt. I think I thought a little bit about this. I thought maybe that question would come up, but what I'd really like to do is talk to the young people out there about what it's like when you get older and how you can give back to the community that gave to you when you were younger. And the most important thing is realizing that the hard work that you do when you volunteer does matter. It does pay off. It does mean something to the community. When I look in the face of third and fourth graders, when I'm doing tours at the Issaquah Salmon Hatchery, and I see that day that they learned something about salmon, that is rewarding. When I get an opportunity to fold a flag and present it to a family of a service member who's just passed away, that is a moment of honor. And you get to do it here in your hometown. I can't even express the joy that you have. No pay could ever be enough to reward you the way you're rewarded when you serve the community. I was lucky when I was young. I got an opportunity to be nurtured by a wonderful, loving community called Issaquah. And it's changed, but there's still a lot of it that's the same. And to be able to serve those seniors, those veterans, those children in school, there is no reward that you get monetary that would ever compensate for what you feel when you do that. Probably more than you wanted, but I can tell you that's the truth.
Thank you.
That is awesome, Dave. Most folks know that I live downtown and I happen to live near a park. It's just a dream for me. I wonder if you can tell us a bit about the history of Veterans Memorial Field, which is located right behind City Hall.
Yeah, I can. Thank you, Mayor. And that park actually used to be the last stop on the Labor Day parade before Salmon Days ever happened. The Labor Day parade came to that park and stopped, and there was usually a carnival in there with rides and all kinds of stuff. So I've known it from then. When I was in high school, Issaquah Senior High School, that field is where we played football. And on Friday nights, the lights would be on, and that would be the center of town. Everybody would come for the high school football game. It's been many things, but what happened for us in the VFW is in 2005, it was only called Memorial Field because of the veterans and because of everything that had happened. So I petitioned, along with some of my comrades, those guys are gone now, bless their heart, petitioned the city council to rename this field Veterans Memorial Field, not just Memorial Field. So it would take what the firemen first did, the volunteer firemen first did with that field, and really keep that name Veterans in front of everything. And they bought it, and they signed the, trying to think of what it was, not an ordinance, and said it will be Veterans Memorial Field, and has been ever since. And we put in a little marker in front of the big, tall monument that sits there that says that story about Veterans Memorial Field. So a wonderful tribute to all the veterans. And just so you know, serving the city on the cemetery board, I know exactly how many veterans are buried in Hillside Cemetery, which is important to me because we mark those graves every Memorial Day, and we know how many are there. So there's 566 stories up there of veterans who've served our community and our nation that are buried in Hillside Cemetery, 19 of which are Civil War vets. And it took us a long time to figure that out. I think there might even be one or two more Civil War vets up there. But we mark their grave every year. So that kind of gives you a nutshell how important that is to me and our community.
Thank you so much, Dave.
You've mentioned salmon a few times on this call already, and salmon are a really important part of our community. And I also know that you're a 19-year master docent for the Friends of Issaquah Salmon Hatchery, and that you've led thousands of children on tours around the hatchery and taught children about the salmon life cycle. So I wondered if you would share one of your favorite stories of leading those tours.
Yeah, thank you, Council President Hunt. The day we opened the aquarium room, I think Mayor Pauly knows, was back in 2013. We, by the way, my friend Norb Ziegler and I designed that aquarium that's in there and had it built. And we really wondered if it was going to be successful. And wonderful thing happened. I got to be the tour guide of the very first tour that went in after we opened that aquarium room. And we had the fish in there swimming, and the mural was down in the back. Little blonde third grader walked in, and the way we built it is so when they walked in at eye level, you're looking right up the creek like it's right there. And the first thing out of her mouth was, "Oh, wow." And I went, "Yes, we did it. We got it right." And I will never forget that as long as I live. When I heard that, "Oh, wow." I don't know what class it was. I know it was a third grade class, probably from Issaquah. But as soon as she said that, I went, "Yes." And it's been that kind of an experience. And when you see those little ones come over and the stuff that they learn and the fun that we have on the tours, and even in a pandemic, we did tours, even in a pandemic, which says a lot about our community. And we shouldn't forget that. We worked very hard. Robin does a great job over there. I've known like 4 executive directors now. I don't know how many docents I've worked with. And until I don't have breath anymore, even if I have a walker or a wheelchair, I'm going to be over there every fall. So.
Dave, thank you both to you and Norb for the amazing work that you did on the on that display and the artwork from Larry Kangas and everything. The fish board works really hard, and your service to them it's been monumental. Thank you very much for that. I'm going to touch on another one now, Dave, and that is, as mayor and formerly council member, I just need to thank you for all the personal organizing you do on Issaquah Memorial and Veterans Day ceremonies for as long as I can remember, before I was even on council. I would love for the community to understand why it's so important to you personally to put all that effort in.
Wow, that's a tough question, Mayor. I think it's because, when our World War II vets came home and they really started marking the graves at the cemetery, I saw how important it was as a younger man in high school, and how much they loved doing that I just couldn't see us stopping that process, because it's really for the community to come up to the cemetery and honor our veterans. Maybe 566 is not a lot of veterans. There's probably a lot more, especially when we go on honor flight back to Washington, D.C. to Arlington. There's a lot more vets. But I look at it this way. In the dates on that cemetery gravestone, there's when they were born and when they died. Not very long. There's a little tiny dash in the middle of that. What I try to remind myself is what that little tiny dash is and what they did with their lives. You've heard me say this before, especially when the POW/MIA flag flies. We have 5 MIAs that never came back home. You heard me talk about Skip. Skip was a C-130. That's a big cargo plane, Air Force. He was a C-130 navigator and died somewhere over the river in Vietnam, North Vietnam. They never ever recovered his body. So he left our community to go serve our country, and never came home. I got to tell you, from my perspective, I never want to forget that. So flying that flag and remembering what Skip did with his life. Issaquah High School graduate, went to college, served in the Air Force, and never got the opportunity to come back home. Never had closure with his family. That's always important to me. All 5 of those, 4 from World War II, 1 from Vietnam, and knocking on wood here, hopefully there's no more. But if there is, we will remember them, because that's who we are in Issaquah. That's what we're all about.
Dave, that's beautiful. I just don't even know if I can appropriately express the amount of gratitude that our community feels towards the work that you're doing. On behalf of Council President Hunt and myself, we are thrilled to adopt you into the Issaquah Hall of Fame. And on behalf of our entire, yes, thank you, there it is. It's beautiful. I was able to deliver that to Dave yesterday. But on behalf of our whole community, Dave, I just want to thank you for your service. And thank you for taking the time to share a little bit about you with Council President Hunt and myself and the rest of the community. It's been great.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council President Hunt. I look forward to watching you on council meetings on TV and seeing you on the streets. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dave. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.